Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another long-awaited episode of The Crowd.
Control.
Podcast too.
They're very Korean of you.
I'll be your moderator for this podcast, Dennis Lee.
I'm one of the panels. My name is June.
And the other panel, Kevin, Jong.
June Son.
So this episode has kind of been a long time coming, I guess, because of the, life.
Technical difficulties as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Actually, no. I mean, in general, it's the coronavirus. I had delayed
the
like a lot of the
COVID-19.
Yeah.
There was a pretty big outbreak the past week in Korea.
Yep.
For people who don't follow the news, but
So the mini news is there is like a very party-run district. There were a lot of Westerners and such, and the one party goer, he was very aware that he had the coronavirus.
I don't think it was just one. It was like multiple, if I heard correctly.
So the multiple.
Apparently there are multiple like hotspots in Itaewon itself.
Yeah. And there was one guy in Busan as well who also went to a club.
Yeah, he went to club in Itaewon and then he came back to Busan
Right.
because that's his hometown or something. So
So
it might have spread throughout that route
Yep.
as well. So
if you ask me personally, I don't know why people are going to clubs, especially in this COVID-19
oh yeah,
times.
it's
It's just you're
like,
asking to
imagine 100, 200 people packed into one
and
dance floor
and then they're all like grinding and like sweat, like glands, making out. Like that's one way to get the virus.
Maybe it's like they think it's more like the Christmas spirit, spread the Christmas joy from their perspective.
Maybe we should do that here too.
Okay, you guys start grinding. I'll watch. So because of that, I hope everyone's understandable for the handful of people that watch our show or podcast. But, because of that, it's been a while. But, now we're back. And since we're back, we can talk about news. And there's a lot to talk about. So we'll start with it has become a recurring segment. I was only supposed to use this segment if we had too much news to talk about. But
we're overloading.
So it's a news gauntlet. And or the working title, news that isn't big enough to talk about in depth, but we still want to bring it up in the podcast.
Yeah, news gauntlet.
Gauntlet.
News gauntlet. I think that's better.
So instead of I'm gonna bring up the sort of significant news that might be interesting to talk about, and I'll bring up the headline. If you guys have anything to put your 2 cents in, or add a comment or two, then say so.
Why 2 cents? Like,
okay,
why not
fine,
some other
okay.
currency like 2 won?
3 cents. It's just a phrase.
or 2 mao. Like, are you
Yeah.
discriminating?
I mean, just a phrase people use. And if you have nothing to say, then just say you have nothing to say, and we can move on.
All right.
So first news
I have
item.
nothing to say.
Okay, we'll move
Damn.
on. It was actually
I
whether
think this is over.
it's actually whether
for...
June's mom was a good mom.
Yeah, I have something to say. Actually.
Apparently, he has nothing to say about that. So, first news, which I found interesting. CD Projekt, developers of Witcher, most basically the Witcher series and the upcoming Cyberpunk 2077, they have officially surpassed Ubisoft as Europe's most valuable company.
Wait, Ubisoft was actually a very a value company in Europe, really.
Ubisoft is based in Europe.
Oh, I mean, it was most valued.
he was
actually surprised.
I mean, they have Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs,
For Honor.
Rainbow Six,
Yeah.
Far Cry.
They have all of the
Value
big names.
in terms of how much money is a company worth.
I mean, Football Manager just blows out the water,
So yeah, apparently CD Projekt has surpassed Ubisoft as the most valuable company in Europe.
Yeah.
You have any thoughts?
Definitely. No, I'm not surprised. So far, Project Red has been so great. It's like the very definition of goodwill to its consumers. I mean, not to its own employees. However,
That's another story.
The end product is always something groundbreaking. I feel like every iteration they release, every single game they release, they haven't had any major bugs. I mean, they do, of course, but not to the extent of the usual AAA title shenanigans these days, right? And that shows the quality and the amount of time they're willing to spend on not just themselves, on their game, but to its people, which is definitely something that's been lost over the years.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to say I saw this coming a little bit, is because when a company treasures their customers and says as their motto, like, you get what you pay for, that's all we ask as gamers. Is usually what we ask is we get what we pay for, and if there are bugs, you fix it. You don't go silent on us. You be transparent, and that's what Project Red stands for, and that's why people love them so much and enjoy them so much, and that leads to profits.
Yeah, and also I think it's just a combination of everything: their transparency, customer service, and they just make really good games.
Right.
So
I mean, if they had great customer service, but they had horrible games.
yes, like nobody would care.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great that you're trying to do that.
It's great you're trying to help us. Like, help your game. But like, help me help you.
Yeah, exactly. So it is. It shows that you don't have. You can actually make money and treat your consumers
Wow.
well, right?
Who would have thought?
But I think as a gaming company, producing good games is not a per se, like, it's more like a standard. You should produce good games. That's that's the basic requirement.
Yeah, I'm sure every company would want to do that.
But what they do is they go beyond that a little bit, and then they do customer service, which is very important.
Yeah, and it's not only good games; it's ambitious games that
Ambitious
they create.
game,
They try to create games that other
Change the
companies
paradigm.
wouldn't.
They
try
set like
to
a
do.
new bar to any sort of genre. I
Yeah.
think Cyberpunk is gonna be a new revolution in all these
I mean, yeah.
open world games,
It's
especially.
like when people,
right?
I think I remember when Skyrim first came out. Everyone was
yes.
like, "This is amazing. This is what it." I mean, it was at that time. It
And
raised
it
the bar.
still is.
It raised the bar on
Yeah.
RPG games.
Yeah.
But then Witcher 3 comes out, and everyone's like, "Whoa!" So it sort of sets the new standard for open world RPG games, and I think that's why Bethesda has been sort of trending down, because their engine is aging, and they just can't make.
According to their director,
They're just like
it's
beating a dead
perfect.
horse right now. They don't care anymore.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll move on. GTA 5. So this time, a lot of companies are releasing their financial statements of the fiscal year, and they're talking about their plans for the future fiscal year, which is always the most unknown because of everything that's going on with COVID-19. But Take-Two, the parent company of Rockstar, they said that GTA 5 has sold 130 million copies.
That's amazing.
Over his lifetime.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very nice.
Any thoughts?
I mean, GTA, that franchise itself, it's a giant. Like, I'm not surprised yet. I'm surprised if you get my
Because
gist.
it's just number is
the number is so huge, and yet I'm not surprised is because GTA. Even when I was in high school, GTA was so big.
Yeah, I think everyone I knew played GTA. Almost
on
everyone.
their PSP. It was the game to play, like multiplayer, and also now because of GTA Online, that it's so popular, and it reeks in a lot of cash as well.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why GTA 6 hasn't come out.
I mean, now it's
yeah, that's
development,
yeah, but
They
They
we're
didn't
getting
need to.
less money than before.
Yeah.
I guess we
Because they
should
had a
do
cash
something.
cow.
yeah, what's the point of cutting off the cash cow, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Because if you make GTA 6, people are gonna stop playing GTA 5.
Right.
And the good thing about games like GTA is that there's like modders who,
Yeah.
like, mod the game and then make it even more accessible
Yeah,
to
they
more.
they add like Randy Savage or
Right.
like Thomas the Train or whatever.
And I think all of us, everyone out there kind of has that role player in them, and GTA kind of reaches out to our inner role players.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I still remember my first memory playing a GTA game, and I was like, "This is a game?" You know how that feel like. Yeah, so 130 million copies. It's almost incomprehensible number.
Right. And yet they haven't sent us a copy. What is wrong with you?
I mean, it was free.
That is true.
Oh wait, it's over.
It's over.
Wait, there used to
I
be.
think it's over.
Oh,
So,
okay,
yeah,
that's-
Yeah, it's over. But it was free last week.
And
so.
Shogun 2 was free as well,
Yeah.
if you watched the last episode.
but it's
That
too
was, like,
late
2
now.
weeks ago.
So if you didn't watch it, that's on you.
Okay. So continuing with all the financial statements made by different companies and all their upcoming plans, both Microsoft and Sony has reiterated that the next-gen consoles are on track for this year, 2020. Any thoughts?
Thoughts?
That's good. I was hoping it wasn't gonna be delayed because everything right now is being delayed. Like
Yeah.
everyone says, we're not sure if it's gonna make it. A lot of my favorite games, their deadlines or their their dates were actually pushed as
Mhm.
well.
Mm.
So I was half expecting maybe this COVID-19 would actually push back the dates of the production of these
Right.
two consoles.
Mhm.
But thank God it's not. It's on track.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Thank God.
discussion we had last time was that we said they might maybe release it earlier since their competition would say, oh hey, here's our specs here, we're gonna release it earlier than we thought, or I think I said they were gonna probably delay it because of COVID, and people don't have as much spending power as before, so
And also,
It
I think
is-
it's
it
also
is
because of like
surprising.
the factories as well, because we don't know when the
Right,
factories
right.
And
will
also
open up.
logistics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
but I mean, we don't know if they're actually telling the truth. Maybe they're saying it to sort of
yeah, because it's
calm
gonna
their-
be an inventory nightmare for especially for Microsoft and Sony, right? It's crazy.
yeah.
They're gonna have to release all these consoles, and how are they gonna expect it to ship to all these different stores when different governments around the world have like these policies limiting the amount of time that people can
Yeah.
come out and buy stuff, right? So I don't know how they're gonna.
I
do
do
this in the
think
first
it's
place.
going to be a limited release,
Mm,
even if they've. I do think they're going to release the consoles this
right,
year,
right.
but I don't think it's going to be like a worldwide launch.
So when
That
about
would be difficult.
when about are these dates for both Sony and Microsoft for the consoles?
I think people are expecting November.
November.
November is the expected date.
Well, November is my birthday.
oh. Wait,
So-
you had a birthday?
Any viewers who are expecting the
Or
console,
listeners.
Oh, yeah, or listeners.
or listener, remember November is my birthday.
Yeah.
And the console's coming out.
Thank you, Billy.
Yeah.
Our
Because
only
I think
subscriber.
every single console has always been released before Christmas. That is always the goal, because you gotta release before.
Oh, when you
Like,
really
buy it to your
yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
when you really think about it, it might give enough breathing room for both Microsoft and Sony to really just release their consoles, right? Because it's November, and
Mhm.
right now it's like May.
Yeah. So it's
I had
like
to think.
half a year away.
I really just want to
Yeah.
know the pricing.
Yeah, that is.
That's one of the biggest.
I think that's still up in there because
Mm.
of the fact that because production has been limited,
Right.
like economics of scale, the
Right.
prices are a bit higher compared
Right.
to.
and also
before.
due to the fact that both companies are still eyeing each other.
Yeah,
They're
Right.
to see who.
how much are you gonna pay? How much is your cost? You first.
It's like a standoff between these two cowboys.
Yeah,
basically.
because they don't want to price it too much higher than
Yeah.
their
Right,
competitor.
but they also want to have a profit
Enough
margin.
money,
Mm.
so they
Right.
it's like a weird, it's like
It-
an interesting battle going on.
It's a
between the-
psychological game.
Yup.
Okay, so let's next news topic. PlayStation or Sony has announced that for next gen, they are going to integrate all their studios into one brand called the PlayStation Studio.
Mm.
Apparently, this is gonna work something like how Marvel, you call it Marvel Studios. So every first-party Sony game is not gonna have this. I mean, you've seen the Marvel movies, right?
Right.
You know that opening where they show like different Marvel characters and
Right.
then dun 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 dun, and they show like the Marvel logo.
Yeah.
Right. Like Batman,
Yeah,
Superman.
they've created their own opening of showing various PlayStation characters, and then it shows like
Mm.
the PlayStation Studio. It's interesting. You guys have any thoughts or?
Not much to talk
Okay,
about
yeah.
actually.
Then
not
we can
much.
then we can move
I
on.
just think it's a good idea.
I just thought it was interesting to just
Yeah,
mention.
it's a
in-
good
in the
business
yeah.
strategy, of course.
Because brand integration, synergy, all the those marketing words,
maybe it'll allow the company to have a more focus in producing their
Yeah.
games.
Mm. It's
Okay.
innovative.
So another news: Summer Game Fest. It's this new event. So for people who don't know or not familiar with this, Jeff Keighley, who is one of the biggest names in the gaming industry.
It's up there with Dennis Lee, June, and Kevin.
Yes.
Oh.
I mean, a bit below us, but
Right. I mean, but we give him
yeah.
the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, he calls us for advice. Now,
Oh wait.
is that Keely?
Jeff?
Oh, we're too busy. Hang up on him.
We're on our podcast.
He should know by now.
He should know better.
So Jeff Keighley, the creator of the Video Game Awards,
Mm.
he practically knows every single CEO in the gaming industry. I'm pretty sure he has like all their numbers.
Yeah.
And so because this year E3 has been cancelled.
Sadly.
A lot of gaming conventions have been cancelled so
Oh,
far.
no.
Yes.
Oh.
Games come up in the air right now. People
Board game conference is also cancelled.
unfortunate
I just wanted to mention it for other gamers out there.
Comic-Con has been cancelled too by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all these conferences have been cancelled. So Jeff Keighley the sort of like the superhero swooping in and saving the summer, has created this new event called the Summer Game Fest. And this is a 3 months long event that starts in May. It has already started,
Right.
and it goes on until August. And a lot of companies have signed up to be part of this festival. So like big names like CD Projekt Red, Sony, Microsoft, Epic Games, Activision. You know, the typical big companies. So they're gonna do new announcements almost every week.
That's definitely something to talk about. It's like a bite-sized release every week, which I think any gamers will appreciate, right?
Mhm.
Usually there will be these bigger events like E3 when
It's
we
like
all
over a
right,
week, with just
yeah.
like bunch of news.
Right. And we had an episode a few months ago talking about the Gamer Awards,
Yeah.
and it's usually where people like us we're kind of forced to crunch in our aspects, right?
Yeah, sure.
And we had to kind of like condense the entire thing to just show the highlights, right?
One episode of podcast.
But if it's like a weekly thing, then we can talk about these different news, different games, and just speculate on how they're gonna go.
Right.
And that's pretty good for, I think, not just gamers, but even other fields as well, like the journalists, developers as well, because they can show the kinks and different parts of a gameplay, which I think is great.
I think it'll make our job a lot easier as well as content
Right.
creators, because if they have a weekly news section, what we can do is for people who don't have the time to watch that and watch our channel, we can actually put that down into bite size and give them the critical information.
Yeah.
But what I'm afraid of is I'm more of a social person where I like to go to these events, and I'm afraid that this new trend might affect the future progress or the direction of which the gaming companies will go towards. So maybe everything will go digital now.
That's a possibility.
So after this year, due to the start of a COVID virus, maybe next year they're not going to do a conference anymore. They're just going to do only digital. Each company has their own digital platform.
That is
but when you really think about it, maybe it could go the other way around. People really would appreciate these physical conventions because of the physical aspect. Just
they miss like
the hand holding of pre-game.
social distancing.
Oh my god, where's the
But I think that the demand for conferences have always been there. Like people love E3. I think the problem is that companies don't love E3 as much as the people do, which is the problem.
I mean, but if the people love it, I think it means it should exist.
Yeah, it should.
We all want to go to E3.
Yeah, I mean that's one of my bucket lists is to go to E3.
We should go. But maybe they haven't invited us.
Yeah.
And they haven't paid for our plane tickets yet.
No press pass.
No, yeah.
And another interesting thing would be these other bigger events that's already set in stone for so many years, so many decades, could be taken down a notch, right?
Yeah.
There could be other bigger events, smaller events that gamers would want to flock to, because if they're interested in only FPS games or indie game titles, then they could just tune into these events
so we're
instead.
saying there might be more specialized conferences rather than just one big.
And that's good, because if you have this, we all know about monopoly, right? So if there's a monopoly on just one specific gaming event, then of course it's good, but in the end, only the biggest will shine, only the most special.
I mean, it's hard to just grab people's attention when there's so many things going on at once.
Right.
But the death of E3 has been sort of spoken about since for the past 5 years. But I do feel like it's coming. It might actually happen because of everything. It feels like COVID-19 has just like put the stake in E3's heart.
It acted as a catalyst.
Yeah, it did. It accelerated its death. But you never know. E3 could adapt. They could change.
Maybe it'll be like a phoenix, where it's after it's burned, it rises again from the ashes,
brighter
and stronger than ever.
But since E3, I welcome Summer Game Fest. It gives us something to look forward to every week, because E3 it's gone. It's a bummer. But so let's move on to really big news now. So let's move on to the first few announcements of Summer Game Fest. Let's start with something small first. Nothing too big. We'll talk about this for a few minutes because I do feel like it's worth mentioning. So Activision, I think Activision were one of the first companies to start off Summer Game Fest, and they announced the long-awaited, well, not long-awaited, but fans have been wanting this for a long time. And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar because back then you guys weren't console players. But Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 have been remade, and it's not a remaster. It's like
Remade.
yeah, because these were PS1 games.
Right.
And if you look at the trailer, it looks amazing. And a lot of people might think, what's so great about a skateboarding game being remade?
The music.
That's
The music
me.
was something
What's
else.
great about a skateboard?
Yeah. So for people who aren't, because I don't think Tony Hawk Pro Skater came on the PC. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe it wasn't as big, but for when I was growing up as console gamers, Tony Hawk Pro Skater was one of these games where it didn't matter if you liked skateboarding or not. Almost everyone played this game
Wait, why? What's the pull?
because it was so fun to play.
What is this game? Is it like you just perform tricks
Okay, so
and you get points?
yeah, so in Tony Hawk Pro Skater, it's kind of like you have various skate parks.
Yeah.
And these are like real life skate parks, like famous skate parks from like California, LA. And you just practically do tricks. And it felt so good to just do crazy, and you do unrealistic tricks. Like they're not really like realistic.
360 backflips.
Yeah, whatever.
No, that's possible.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Like the crazier ones were like grabbing the skateboard from their feet and like spinning in their hands and stuff like that.
You never know. It's always possible.
Are you able to get injured?
Yeah, I mean, you fall down, and then it was like the bone crunch. They had like bone crunching sound effect when you fell, and sometimes like blood would squirt, like and then
Can you die?
no,
Oh.
it's just arcade. But so it's kind of a big deal. People, it's like this nostalgia for people who grew up playing. I mean, I played Tony Hawk. A lot of my friends play Tony Hawk, and I don't even skateboard. The only skateboard I know is Tony Hawk. That's
It's like a Mario Party, Super Smash Bros. Even people who never played it, they know about the title.
Mhm.
Like Tony Hawk, like they never skateboarded before, but they're Tony Hawk. I know Tony Hawk. They just think of skateboarding.
yeah. So it's not really like super big news, but I thought it was worth mentioning.
I mean, I'm not interested in it. I even have a skateboard.
Do you?
I have longboard.
Oh, longboard.
Yeah.
Is that?
It's a little different.
It's a bit different. I'm not really. I don't really know. the
Skateboard
boards.
is more about tricks. Longboard is usually for just riding.
Just
Yeah,
traveling.
some those
moving.
music
Okay.
videos with those pretty girls like just
Yeah.
going like that.
I
Yeah,
see those on
that's called a
YouTube. Of
longboard.
YouTube,
yeah,
like
that's a longboard.
they do tricks as in like they move their feet
Yeah.
around.
Yeah,
Because
that's
the
all they
longboard
do.
is much more bigger in length and
Yeah.
width. Usually.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's the difference.
Oh.
But even with that, I'm not really interested in skateboard. It's because I don't know. I feel like doing tricks is lame. It's boring.
Because I mean, I
Well,
used to have a skateboard as well at elementary, but I could never figure out the tricks. Like, okay, fuck this.
The only reason why I have a longboard is because I wanted to buy a scooter, but a scooter was too expensive.
Mm.
Yeah, so you
The
said
second
use
best
longboard.
option is
Yeah,
a longboard.
Okay. But I might buy it because I grew up playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yeah.
So
Tell-
it is.
If you do buy it, tell us how it is.
Yeah,
Right.
it looks fun. Okay, so let's move on to the second announcement of Summer Game Fest, which is Epic Games have revealed their new engine for next gen.
Oh yes.
Unreal Engine V or 5.
Oh.
They call it Unreal because it's literally unreal.
Yeah, so their fifth iteration of Unreal Engine has been announced. So, I mean, we've all seen their tech demo. What do you guys think? First impressions, just
You could. I don't know. When you really think about every tech demo, they always show off the best of the best, right? It's like showing what their engine is capable of. It's good. It's very good. The lighting, the way the character moves, everything seems very smooth.
Yeah.
I feel it's not choppy or anything.
Yeah.
There's clearly no groundbreaking bugs or anything. And
I mean, it'd be weird if they had a tech demo
You never know,
showing
right?
people and it was a bug.
There
So
could
like,
be,
oh,
there
we're
could be
sorry.
something careless there. Which
This is our most up to date.
what really amazed me was when they're demonstrating the lighting effects and how
in the dark cave.
right,
Yeah.
and how it just moves back and forth and it's
Yeah,
just
like
so realistic.
reflections
right,
and stuff.
right. It's
Oh, yeah.
it's next level.
Another thing I forgot to mention is this was running on a PS5.
Yeah.
So this is the first ever demo of any kind running on
Mm.
PlayStation 5.
I was amazed. I was taken
Mm,
back.
yeah.
I'm. It's because of these things that I'm so excited for the future of gaming. Is because more and more as time goes by, games become such a part of reality, almost
Mm.
like reality, where games are just so real. It's just so surreal, and the way her scarf was moving when she was
Yeah.
climbing, the way she was grabbing onto the cliff as if it was literally they were like she was trying to grab onto
Yeah.
it.
Mm.
How she touched the door
Mhm.
when she was entering the cave
Yeah, like contextual animations.
it just felt so these little things that you notice but when you notice when it's there but you don't when you kind of feel like it's lacking when it's not.
Right.
That naturalness to animation is just blowing my mind.
Yeah, it's just like how the physics engine for every iteration of every engine has just changed so much. I saw like a trailer for Vampire the Masquerade. It came out I think a few weeks ago.
Oh, it came out during the Xbox Series X
Yeah,
event.
and I saw a certain part of the animation where there was a female character talking, and you could tell the hair wasn't right. And when you really just go over the years when it comes to gaming, you just notice it, right? Even Skyrim is the hair just looks so.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like clay.
like you
right?
said, when you look back, all the hair in the past it was kind of like bunched up as
Yeah.
if he
Yeah.
hasn't washed for 3 days.
Right.
But now the subtle wind that grazes the grass as it just blows past, and also how your cloth or your clothes or your apparel will move as time goes as
Mhm.
like
Mm.
as the wind goes by. I think it's just so amazed how gaming has come so far. And I always say graphics will always add to the immersion. That's just the way it works.
Yup.
So the more real it is, like Half-Life Alex, the more immersion we're gonna get from the game.
Mm.
I think that this engine I think it's the first taste of next gen we've gotten so far.
But I think one interesting thing I did, I think an insight would be why PlayStation, right? Why not
Yes.
next gen Nvidia card or AMD? Why?
So
Why not?
yeah, I'm sure people are curious why they decided to run on a PS5.
Right.
And Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic Games,
And also our good friend.
he does talk to us for advice as well.
Yeah. I mean that was his message.
right. Definitely.
So it is all because of the SSD of the
Mm.
PS5.
The new
yeah.
This new mysterious technology.
that we've been hearing so much about.
Yeah, so apparently, if you guys have seen the tech demo, and if you haven't seen it, I recommend you watch it.
It was like also we talked about it like 2 weeks ago. Four
I
weeks
think
ago.
more than a few weeks.
4
ago.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for the tech demo, the scene where she flies through the air in this vast open environment, people are saying that scene can only be possible on the PS5.
The new SSD.
Yeah,
makes
because
that
it's
possible.
loading the assets so quickly
Yeah.
that you can just fly through it and it doesn't degrade any of the textures.
Right.
Mm.
And that's possible through. You need a really good SSD to do that because it's
It requires a lot of memory.
yeah, and it requires a fast memory
Right.
to load it at quick speeds.
The cycles have to keep on like just.
Yeah. So
just
like, because everyone
consistent,
keeps saying
yeah.
like, what's the point of a good SSD? What, loading times are just become faster? Like, is
Mm.
that it? And then people are like, no, that's not the only improvement you get from a quick SSD. It's environments load faster. Like, textures don't degrade as quickly. There's no pop in anymore. And that was crazy. Like, those are 8K textures with zero pop in.
Right. I mean, one of the worst things when you play a game is you know when you were trying to find a place
Yeah.
and you're like, dang, I can't find it, and you go closer and it's like a trees pop up.
Yeah.
Like from like nowhere. It's like, oh, it's there.
Yeah.
So those things you're not gonna find that in because of this
Yeah.
SSD, which is amazing.
Apparently, there's a thing called LODs. And I'm not sure exactly what each word LOD, maybe it's like level of depth or something. But the idea of LODs is this is like a rendering. This is what renders grow up learning, which is that, especially in games, is the further you are away from a thing,
Or an object.
I think it's
object,
level
asset,
of depth. Level of depth.
Maybe,
is-
yeah.
maybe.
the resolution of that object or the texture would degrade because they would save memory
Mm.
space.
Right. Makes sense.
It makes sense,
Yeah.
obviously. Like the closer you are, it would become clearer and become higher def. With Unreal Engine 5, apparently there are no more LODs.
So
Mm.
everything is loaded.
Everything is loaded
In real time.
in real time with
Mm.
highest texture possible. and obviously that wouldn't be possible in an HDD.
I mean, it's things like these that you think it's not going to matter a lot,
Yeah.
but when it actually does happen, that's going to set the bar of the lowest standard where every game needs to have that level
Yeah.
of depth.
Yeah, because I think there was a time, even just a few years ago, people say, just get HD, it has more storage space.
Yeah.
Why do I need to upgrade to SDD?
Yeah. SSD.
SSD in the first place. Right?
SDD. Is that a new system?
Well, trade secrets. We're not allowed to reveal it
Right.
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's showing that now this is probably saying this is the next gaming experience. If
Yeah.
you truly want to enjoy the next level of gaming, this is the upgrade for you.
Mhm.
You have to
I
upgrade.
mean, every year, I think I feel this every year where I look at games and when I look at the games in the past, I feel like wow, the games have come so far,
Yeah.
Mm.
and then I get amazed next year is because technology changes so fast
Yeah.
and in a good way.
Yeah, we can witness the change.
Right, we can witness a change. If you look at Doom when it first came out, it's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah, just 2D flat
Yeah,
textures,
right.
whatever.
But look at Doom now, like you.
Doom Eternal.
Right, it's
Oh.
amazing. you chop people's head off.
Yeah.
You run and shotgun people down.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see that change of just 10 to 20 years of gaming in the gaming industry, you can see how much that changed.
Yeah.
Mm.
And those big leaps always happen in next gen years.
Right.
So years where next gen consoles are released
Mm.
are always the years where we see the biggest leap in terms of graphics
Mm.
and gameplay. So that's why like people are so excited every time a new console gets released because that's the year where the floor is raised.
Right.
Like the minimum of what games can do is now raised because of next gen consoles.
Mm.
And I feel like 2020 is a special. It's a special word. 20 is like love you in Chinese.
Is
Wow,
it special in
okay.
Chinese culture? Is
It's
it?
very special in Chinese culture.
Okay, I mean,
Right.
not this year. It's not special.
But it's even more special because it's 2020, which
Yeah.
means love you. So it's
Okay.
like double. And this is never gonna come again.
Oh, okay. I think he means love you, like more like a abusive relationship. I'm hitting you because I love you.
Yeah.
Like
So,
that kind of deal.
I'm really excited for 2020. It's because this 2020, this number itself, for me, it signifies something.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And in this industry, in the gaming industry as well, it's gonna signify something as well because the next gen consoles are coming out.
Yeah,
So I feel like we're gonna remember this
exactly.
for a long time.
Because I remember it was 2008. 2007 was the year next gen consoles,
Mm.
the PS3, that was like two generations ago.
Right.
The PS3, Xbox 360 were announced. Oh my god! Like back then we had no internet.
Right.
I would wait every single month for the latest magazine to come out, and they had like the front cover was like full details on PS3 and Xbox 360, and I would be like begging my mom to buy it, and I would be so excited to read it, and I'll be in the supermarket and I'll just read the magazine.
You
Man,
sure?
I
You sure it
just-
wasn't the hot girl on the cover?
Yeah,
Man, I wish you still had those magazines. It's
Yeah.
because we can just put it in our studio.
yeah. My mom threw it away because we moved from another city, and she didn't want to bring all
I
those
mean, you
magazines.
can't even buy that anymore.
Yeah, they're gone.
They're gone.
The
you
magazine
just
itself is not in production anymore.
You just threw away memory.
I had 3 years worth of magazines.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then on
can you
eBay
believe that?
later,
Honestly,
$5,000 for the piece. Like, oh, wow.
Imagine if we had all that. You know how like those gaming guys have
Yeah.
like these magazines and
Yeah.
like games behind
Yeah.
them. Imagine if we had 3 years worth of that. My
Mm.
goodness.
Yeah, and man, it was next gen consoles when they arrived the year. It's always so memorable, and we're probably gonna. This is just a taste of next gen. This engine,
Just a lick.
it's like it's not even like it's like a.
It's like
tip
a
of the tongue.
Baskin Robbins, that small
the
spoon,
tip of the tongue. It's like
basically.
like orgasm in the mouth. It's like, oh!
So, so this is only a taste of what's to come.
Mm.
And when I saw this Unreal Engine 5 tech demo, I was like, okay, this looks amazing. So I was like, let's see what they did with the Unreal Engine 4 demo. It looks bad. it really does.
It's interesting. It's because when we looked at Unreal Engine 4, we thought it was like, oh my god, this. Is
Yeah,
really
when
good.
it first came, I was like, look at the lighting, look at
Yeah.
the reflections,
Look at her butt.
yeah.
It was like that for every, like, like a Tomb Raider with those triangular
Yeah.
boobs. You know?
Oh man.
But the thing is, like, it doesn't even look bad compared to Unreal Engine 5. It looks bad compared to games released right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So that means this tech demo isn't even like the best next gen has to offer.
It's just a glimpse of the
Mm.
iceberg.
Yeah,
It's
because
tip of the iceberg.
if the Unreal Engine 4 demo looked, or not even demo, it's like a tech, demo thing where it's not even gameplay. It was like
Mm.
showing the lighting and how it works.
What it's capable of,
Yeah.
basically.
If that looked bad even before next gen started, that means this tech demo might look bad before next gen starts even.
When I look at like the current game engines and then how it is right now in terms of technology, I'm not sure. I can't imagine how further they're gonna take it. Like, how do you perfect perfection?
That's what I thought in the PS2 days.
Yeah, but when you look at it now, like
Yeah.
it's almost as if a person is inside. Maybe they're gonna like maybe clarify a little bit more so that it's actually like a movie, like we're actually playing a movie kind of thing. So I don't know. Maybe they're gonna make it even more realistic. Maybe you can't even tell if it's like a digital world anymore.
Yeah.
But maybe until then, now it kind of looks like it looks perfection.
I mean, right now, currently, they have those PS4 games with all these anime girls, and you can put on a VR headset. It looks very realistic. So
Sure. Yeah.
we can't go
Are you talking from experience?
yeah, I mean, there's one iteration called Thomas the Tank Engine, and you have to kind of seduce a train. It's
Yeah.
very realistic.
But
I love it.
Another good thing about this engine is not only does it look great, and I'm assuming it runs great, but apparently it also helps with development.
Yeah,
So the idea,
when you really think about it, right? It actually helps with development technology in terms of the PC market as well. Because I think way back it was just we'll just go Xbox 360 PC, but now it's more like they're all spearheading it together. Like we're all going hand in hand, saying like, okay, once the next engine comes out for the PS5, and the next thing you know, the other gaming markets start following through with it, or just the next engine will come out like on a different engine, and just, oh shit, I did not expect that, which is great, right? I don't feel like there's a console war anymore as much as before. You know, there used to be.
Oh, then don't go to Twitter.
I mean, not as huge as it used to be. I feel like gamers now these days are willing to be more flexible when it comes to their gaming habits, and I think that's my opinion, right?
Yeah, I think people our age
right.
aren't that into console wars, but
Right.
you know those teenagers.
Gotta be edgy.
Yeah. But yeah, so also another thing is that this engine apparently it cuts down on development time quite a lot, because apparently I'm not very technology. I don't know much about development of games, but from what I've read is that a lot of times when you move assets, like really high definition assets to games, developers have to sort of adjust those assets to fit into the game a lot.
Oh yeah, because there's like different dimensions,
different dimensions
within
or
the actual
whatever.
game itself.
So they would have to sort of change it and work more just to place it into the gaming world. But with the Unreal Engine 5, movie assets, like 8K texture movie assets, can now be directly transported into the gaming engine like seamlessly. And that would cut down on
a lot.
Like
so there's a thing called baking. You have to bake the
you're right.
data.
That is one of the terms I've heard.
And once again, dimensions as well. Let's say you made the entire environment like 500 meters, but you have an asset which is maybe 5 centimeters. Next thing you know, it's super huge on the screen. Oh no, it's not supposed to be like that.
Yeah.
However, like you said, it just makes it less of a pain in the ass.
It's like seamless transition.
Right.
Yeah. And another thing is like lighting as well. For example, this engine uses dynamic lighting. So lighting can be adjusted seamlessly.
Yeah.
Before, the animators had to create a static object.
Yep.
And then the static lighting, they would have to
Right.
create that lighting. But now they can just create the object and then turn on the lighting, and then it just shows dynamic lighting right on it. So this might cut down on development time.
Oh,
Maybe
cut
even the
a lot.
Yeah.
Cut a lot
Maybe
in
crunching
development
as
time.
well.
Yeah, maybe
Right.
this will
I
actually
think
help
the worry is just how big games are going to become. I think that's the worry. Like Red Dead Redemption 2 was 100 gigabytes.
Oh.
I mean, but in a sense, our computers are also getting bigger as well.
And
Like,
once again, everything will follow through. Next thing you know, a budget computer will have the PS5 SSD, and that's gonna be the minimum requirement.
Yeah.
And people, next thing you know, they're like, "Oh, I have a shitty computer. I have this PS5 SSD. I can't even run anything these days," and that's good.
Yeah. I think the fact that consoles are all moving to SSD now, I think that's the biggest thing.
It was a
change gaming.
bottleneck for so long, right?
So now that now that every single console is going to have an SSD,
Right.
when companies make games, they can optimize the games for SSDs rather than HDDs, because HDDs are slow and clunky, Although they do have way more memory. They're cheaper.
A lot cheaper.
But SSDs have been going down in price a lot the past few
Yeah.
years or whatever.
And you can always buy like budget
SSDs,
SSDs.
yeah.
I actually bought like a SSD recently. It was like $90 for 500 gigabytes, I think.
Oh, that's good.
That's
Yeah.
not bad.
That's not bad.
It's, it's like Barracuda or something
Mhm.
like that.
But I mean, I learned in the past where as technology grows, the cost of the previous generation
Yep.
iterations of
Yeah, they all
things they
yeah.
go
Yep.
down by half. So you can see how when USBs go up in
Mm.
like trillion gigabytes, all the 25 gigabyte ones, it's like $5.
So for the SSDs that are using the PS5, apparently they're gonna be in the market next year, like spring, summer.
Mm.
So we'll see.
Maybe by then, we'll be able to buy that through our podcast.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Okay, let's move on to the next news. So we're talking about next gen.
Oh man,
What?
It's 444 right now. That's a bad number.
Why did you have to mention that?
Bro.
That's bad juju.
Whoa, I just saw it. I was like 444. I was like, oh my god, I need to pray.
I always hate it when I see my time, the time on my phone, and it's 444.
Why? Because it's death.
Yeah, it just makes you feel bad.
Oh wait, what 444?
Four
Yeah.
is like
Four means death
yeah,
in
death
Chinese
in
character,
and
Ah.
in Korean.
Korean as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's why there's no fourth floors a lot in some buildings.
Yeah.
I think Thailand, what number was? I think some number they don't have. I think it's same for you guys in the Philippines. They don't have a specific floor. It's like L, G, or something.
In
like
the
that
Philippines,
instead.
they don't have 13th floor.
Ah. Oh, I think it was
'Cause
13
13
for
is
us
an
as
unlucky
well.
number in Western culture.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Because that's what it is Friday the 13th.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Is that why?
Yeah, because 13 is unlucky.
Oh. we learn new things every day.
Don't worry, though. Well, on that tangent, let's take a short break and then come back with more gaming news.
Yeah.
And we're back from our very long, good break, right?
Well-deserved break. And we noticed something.
What? Oh, right.
A technical issue.
Yep.
Yeah, so for the last 10 or so minutes of the pre-break.
I mean, we're gonna be explaining this in our post-production
Yeah.
as well, but
Yeah.
to explain that it's a government message in Korea where it overrides all your programs and you get an automatic message on the
Yeah.
COVID
I mean,
situation.
it's for the good. It's for our
Yep.
own good,
Yeah.
So understandable, but
Right.
But
is
it did close the camera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so some recordings are it'll be only audio for the last 10 minutes of the previous.
I mean,
one.
it is crowd control
Yeah.
podcast,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
So
So
it
if you
is-
miss us, just keep watching.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about Ghost of Tsushima.
mm.
So Sony released a state of play last week, showing sort of this long reveal of not only the combat, but the exploration, the systems in place, the character, how you can sort of change the look and all that stuff. And we finally got a good look at this game, which long awaited and very hyped game among a lot of fans because samurai and everyone loves samurais.
Who doesn't love samurai?
So how about you, Ju? I mean, you are probably one of the biggest fans of samurais in general.
Oh,
Mm.
I am. Believe me, I am.
What is your first impression of this long reveal of the game?
Well, to cut it short, I really liked it. Obviously, I liked how the animations of the blade, the sound effects was so thematic, very Japanese.
The music was so good.
It was
The music is
Mm.
amazing.
like I often when I was watching this, I just closed my eyes because it was so it just put the scene and the atmosphere there, right there. Also, I liked it when you were slashing people and it kind of had that slow motion kind of
Yeah.
vibe, and just really excited for it.
Mm.
How about you, Kevin?
I did like the combat a lot. once again, the music you guys mentioned is pretty good. But the combat really stood out to me. I like the part where I think the archers were like shooting arrows, and your character, the character in the gameplay was like, just deflecting the arrow.
Yeah.
Very unrealistic, but no, it is possible.
I mean, it is.
Apparently,
It's
it is
possible.
possible.
Yeah, it's
Apparently,
If
it
you're
is.
like a master
Right.
swordsman.
And I think that those parts were cool.
Yeah.
Usually, in those games, you don't have like those arrow deflection methods, and I was like, oh wow, he deflected the arrow. That's pretty
It is
neat.
interesting how there are two playstyles that you can sort of switch. We're not exactly sure
Mm.
how you switch it. Is it like a skill tree, or can you just switch it at will?
Mm.
Or maybe at only nighttime can you use this, and daytime you'll be samurai.
Mm.
So they did show like both the same camp, but done by one is by the samurai and one is by the ninja, or they call it the ghost.
Mm.
I'm assuming you're leaning towards playing as samurai style, right?
More samurai. I like the samurai.
Mm.
How about you, Kevin? Samurai or ghost?
I mean, the ghost was more like
I think
It's like stealth.
assassin
Yeah,
type.
ninjas basically.
I'm more of go in there and kill everything.
right. I don't know. I used to be a samurai guy. I was like, yeah, your guns blazing, kill everyone. But I don't know. Like these days, I try to play on stealth because all these different stealth options for different games. They offer this other whole story, like a different story element to the game.
Mhm.
Besides you just guns blazing, because you don't know what the character was gonna say before you kill them,
Right.
like for no reason, right?
Yeah.
If you're in stealth and you hear two characters talking, or like, oh hey, Boutskovich, I need to go toilet because I have a hemorrhoid.
I mean,
Where have I heard that?
Is that
name before?
Japanese?
No, it's like an example. Right?
Why are there Russians
So
here?
maybe the guy's hemorrhoids like
Yeah.
a groundbreaking element in the entire gameplay,
Yeah,
and
it's
yeah,
possible.
so it gives you this entire environment and
Yeah.
this entire
It-
theme to a game that you would not have if you were just going like just ramboing everything, right? And that's good. I would say I'll go probably ninja on this because I want to hear what they're trying to say. Like, oh hey, something is haunting our babies. I don't freaking know. It's like a Japanese world, like some okami. I don't freaking know. I ate too much sushi last night.
I like
Yeah.
personally, I would probably lean more towards samurai.
Mm.
But the thing I liked about when you see the playthrough as the ghost or the ninja,
Right.
I did like the aspect of like instilling fear into their hearts.
Mm.
So like I think there was this one scene where you kill everyone, or
Mm.
he killed a lot of people, and then the remaining people, they start running away.
Mm.
That's so realistic.
And then the guy, one guy like falls to the ground, drops his spear, and is like just like scrambling back, and you just kill him.
Mm.
That does seem very appealing to me.
Right.
When I was looking at the samurai, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Sekiro.
Yeah,
was
it
because
does. It did
The whole
kind of.
parry mechanic of
Mhm.
how he was
Mm.
parrying different people, executions, the slow time movement. Of course, Sekiro doesn't have slow time movement.
Yeah.
It's all real time,
Yeah.
fast paced. So that kind of reminded me of a little bit of Sekiro.
But the gameplay also kind of reminded me of old school Assassin's Creed,
Oh,
Definitely.
because like
like even now, Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
I think Odyssey.
I mean I haven't played Odyssey, so I wouldn't
Yeah.
know. But like in terms of like when you play like 2 or 3,
Mm.
I think 90% of the game you're just waiting for people to attack you, so you could counter them.
Mm.
So I'm hoping that the samurai gameplay is more active, like rather than passive playstyle.
Mm.
And I hope it's not like, you know how when you play for games like For Honor, where or just for example For Honor, where you know how the NPC is just staring at you
Yeah.
and it's like poke and poke. I hope it's not like that. I hope it's like real time where it's like they run at you like and it's like a one smooth motion of, and the NPCs are not so dumb.
Oh.
I just hope.
Oh yeah,
Maybe you
I
should play
think
Sekiro then.
what was it?
Sekiro is.
I mean, but Sekiro is too much pain. It's way too much pain.
I think what you're trying to talk about is like these NPCs. They have manners. They're like, oh hey, you're currently fighting this guy.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just stand by. We'll
Yeah,
just,
I
you know.
don't like that manner
Yeah.
kind of thing. Where because when you're fighting in real life, I doubt real opponents have manners. Like they would usually try to kill you,
Yeah.
right?
They're like, oh hey,
Their-
there's
their
20
life
of
on the
us.
Yeah,
They're-
their life's on the line. So I hope
It's
that
So you want like frantic. You want it to be more frantic.
the
pace.
battle should be frantic and it should have that visceral,
Yeah.
like adrenaline should be pumping.
Right.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
But not Sekiro.
I mean Sekiro.
Sekiro, your adrenaline is pumping. Also, you've got that button clutching feeling.
Your butthole is very painful. When you
Yes.
play Sekiro. But So now already they show the combat, which looks good. I wouldn't say it looks amazing. I think we'd have to sort of play the game to know. Have some reservations about the combat because I'm hoping it's not fully based on counters.
Me too.
Yeah.
I don't. I hope
Because
not.
I don't like waiting for someone to attack and then you parry them and whatever. But it looks good though, and I think the one that sort of impressed me the most of this game and the one that made me more excited because I was already excited for the game. It made me more excited was the exploration of the game and how when you play an open world game, for example, GTA or Far Cry or Ubisoft or any typical Ubisoft open world game. Like let's say you put a marker in the map, and usually they show it by an arrow, or in your mini map they show like what route you should take to get there. I loved Ghost of Tsushima's their way of showing where to go, is that the wind will guide you. And I feel like this is part of their whole idea of exploration shouldn't be about seeing stuff in your mini map and like seeing waypoints or like logos like, oh, this means a camp, or this means treasure
Like
chest,
Dead
or this
Space,
means
literally a line. It's like boom. Oh, okay. I just follow the line.
or like this part is a treasure chest, this part is a bandit camp, or this is something point of interest. They did say that they want people to sort of explore using what they see rather than what they look on the map.
Make gamers actually think this time.
Because
like we've been trained so much to look at the mini map and like basically tick off on a
like
task.
it's like a checklist.
It's like a checklist.
Yeah,
And Ubisoft, like Assassin's Creed, does this a lot.
they're infamous.
They're
for-
infamous. 'Cause you just go up the tower and you're
Yeah.
like, "Grrr," and you use your like, hawk.
Even in Far Cry, you climb towers. And
then you just
you turn on the tower, and the GPS like
Somehow you just see
and then
everything.
the map opens up, and you see like all these like
And then now you
like
know like,
colored
oh, that's
markers.
a bandit camp.
yeah.
And
That's
the grind is there, and some people do like it because
I do enjoy it.
it's
To a
like-
point.
It's like a
Yeah.
brain dead kind of like taking off the task list kind of thing. But at some point, you get really tired of it.
Mhm.
And I think that's one way to do that. I think I mentioned this game once. It's called The Long Dark. In that game there is no map. Like you can't make a map.
Mhm.
You can only make only a map based on what you see. So that game really focuses on literally what you remember and all the little
the
structural
player freedom.
aspects.
There's like a
Right.
choice for the player. They're not forced choked to go to a specific direction because there's an objective there.
Yeah, but
like, oh, the
yeah.
wind. Okay, I'll just go there.
it's also like I don't like the idea of shoving all these like missions and side
Right.
quests
Down your throat.
into the player's throat. Like, look at this, do this, do this, do that. And I do feel like this this game is considered one of the greatest games of all time and one of the greatest exploration games, and that's Breath of the Wild. I think Breath of the Wild is a good example.
Like
of-
there's no quest.
yeah, I mean, there are quests, but it's very natural. The
Yeah.
way you stumble upon a person walking down the street,
They don't
the
really
road.
have like
Yeah, like I am a quest. Nothing like that. And like even like when I would play Breath of the Wild, and you'd walk down, a mountain or a path, then you just like see points of interest, right? You don't like, for example, shrines. They don't appear on your map until
it's
you
usually a sound like ding ding.
until you actually go to the shrine itself.
Yeah, because it appeals to the player's curiosity.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
want to explore. They want to go to the
They
world.
use visual
right.
cues to sort
Yeah.
of saying this is something interesting,
Yeah.
or maybe you should go here. Because I remember so many times in Breath of the Wild I was playing, I was like, whoa, what's that? Like sometimes you'd see like this like foreboding thing in the horizon, like, whoa, what's that? Or like the first time you see a cyclops that's sleeping, right? And you're like, whoa, what is
And
that?
then you get owned.
You get wrecked.
And then that becomes your purpose and your
Yeah,
goal
yeah.
to beat that thing.
or sometimes like I love when you go climb a mountain and you see like multiple shrines, right?
So you mark it.
Yeah, you mark it with you have to mark it with your binoculars.
Yeah.
You don't it doesn't appear on your mini map.
Right.
So it's stuff like that that sort of engages you in an open world, right? Because if you know where everything is, it just becomes okay. I'll just go here, and then I'll go here,
Right.
and then I'll go here.
I think that's one of the biggest cons of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I think it's one of the reasons why I haven't finished it yet. Is because I was so used to the grind that I felt no purpose. But when I was playing Breath of the Wild, one of the best things I liked about it was where quest kind of led naturally to another quest.
Yeah.
Like you would talk to this person, they're like, "Oh, you should probably find this guy. I heard he went down the stream."
Yeah.
But he doesn't tell you where the stream is. You look and then you find a stream. And you're like, "Oh, hello, I'm doing this. Can you help me?"
Yeah, the
Or you're
game
like, "Of
isn't
course."
holding your hand.
So it's like a
basically.
story-led game of quest where it feels natural. The progression feels
It
natural.
feels like
Mm.
you're finding those quests rather than the
Right.
game telling you these are
Right.
quests.
Right.
You know?
Of course, to some degree, it is literally the game
Yeah.
giving you that quest.
But it's how they
but
show you.
It's
Yeah.
it feels natural. And
Yeah.
I think that's a really important balance for any game to have, where they have quests, but they shouldn't force it.
Mhm,
Once again,
exactly.
I think it's subjective, right? Sometimes you need hand holding for certain genres, some
Mhm.
certain titles. And
I mean, yeah, to an extent, you do
right,
need it.
right.
I just hope they find a middle ground of Breath of the Wild and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. If they find that middle ground, man, Assassin's Creed
Yeah.
genre is gonna be so good.
But I wouldn't mind if they also went Breath of the Wild. You know, yeah, because I don't really. For me, it's preferable if they were to go one or the other,
You like Breath of the Wild?
Breath of the Wild more
Mm.
rather than Assassin's Creed or whatever.
Yeah.
Because like they also showed the wind guides you, so you just follow the direction of the wind. So if you put a waypoint on your map, the wind will always blow in that direction.
But what if you don't? What if you don't want to go to the wind?
Then don't put a waypoint there. Like there's even a mechanic where they show like the character picks up a grass or leaf and he like throws it in the air and then it flies to the wind. So that's also a really interesting way of showing which way you have to go. Because they don't use the UI to show you. They use the game itself, right? And I also loved how like if you want to find shrines to pray, the animals will guide you to them, right? They show that.
These subtle cues.
Yeah, like
Hmm.
he was riding a horse and a bird just flew, and then they were like, "Oh, by the way, if you follow birds, they'll most likely lead you to points of interest." And then he led them to like this empty house that you can loot, and like a fox came over, and then the fox, and he said apparently in games, foxes will usually lead you to shrines to pray at. So I think those are really like interesting ways of showing
Mm.
points of interest rather than you see the maps like a shrine's here.
Mm.
I hope in Ghost of Tsushima there is. I'm probably gonna regret saying this,
Okay.
but I hope there is no fast travel.
I think
Yeah.
I am really against fast travel, but I'm also for it. Is because sometimes I get lazy.
Yeah.
But in good games, I don't like fast traveling.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is a good example of, in my opinion, fast travel done well, because Red Dead 2 does have fast travel.
Mm.
But how does it work?
But it's very limited. In
It's
how you
basically
use
like
it.
the taxi in GTA 5. You
Yeah.
just can go to
So-
certain points of the
Yeah.
map.
So for example, fast travel is very limited to big towns or cities only,
Okay.
and you can't fast travel if you're in the wild.
Mm.
You have to go to other big towns
Yeah.
to go to other big towns.
So each town has a horse carriage,
Oh.
and you talk to the horse carriage person, and then they bring you to other towns.
Okay, that makes sense. That's
Yeah.
realistic.
Mm.
What I don't like is where Assassin's Creed you finish a quest, right?
And just fast
you
travel.
just fast travel
Yeah.
anywhere. That really, I don't know. That kind of makes me feel like I'm just doing this and then doing this and doing this. I'm done for the tonight. Tomorrow I'll do this,
Mhm.
this. Doesn't feel like a game. It's more like a grind, and I think that's the big part of
Yeah.
what ruins a game.
Yeah, but this one of those like subjective
Yeah,
things
it
where
is, it
it's
is.
like some people
Some people like it,
would hate if you if you were forced to travel everywhere.
but I heard a lot of people liked Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, a lot of people hated it as well.
Did?
It's
Was it?
Red Dead 2 is a very divisive game because it's super immersive. It really is. It's one of the most immersive games. My brother has started playing Red Dead Redemption 2
When?
like a few weeks ago, and sometimes I watch him play and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this part, or I remember doing that. Like in Red Dead 2, every animation is so detailed and painstakingly made to feel like he's actually doing stuff that
Mm.
it. For some people, it might feel like a drag. Like, do we really have to go through this animation every single time?
How many sugar cubes do you want in your coffee? I just want to drink my coffee.
Like, for example, if you rummage a cabinet, if you find like an empty shack in the wild, like the character would open the cabinet, and there's nothing. If there's something, then he'll like pick it up, put it in his pocket, and he close it
Like
and
one
then-
by one.
Yeah, one by one, or like open it and he'll pick it up, open it, and open the cabinet one by one. Other games, you'd be like, you press the button,
You
Take-
search the whole
yeah,
thing.
take all, and then it's just like right.
That's true.
Or when you loot a body, he literally goes down and touches the body.
What if it's a girl?
I mean, sure.
I mean,
then-
you gotta respect her boundaries.
Yeah, you gotta
You
respect.
gotta get consent
Yeah,
first.
respect woman.
Yeah.
Oh. So like they have all these weird animations that make it so immersive,
Mm.
but a lot of players were turned off because they just want to get it over with.
Right,
They want
right.
to play the game. They want to.
Yeah. Some players do wanna get on with it.
Yeah.
Literally.
So like, I'm okay because I love Red Dead Redemption 2. I love
Mm.
immersive games. I love games that sort of put the details, the small details in their games. I feel like it makes it so much more. You could feel the work put in by the developers because
Mm.
they didn't have to do that, but they obviously put this for a reason.
I think more and more games are going towards that Red Dead Redemption trend. I think Half-Life, Alex, is also in that ballpark. It's because remember when we watched the trailer and she was like searching,
Yeah.
rummaging through that to get
Mm.
like her gun or
Yeah.
something. I think that is something you can skip, but at the same time, if you have it, it just gives
Yeah.
a lot
But
more.
I think that's
immersion.
because it's a VR game, so they would have
Yup.
to create some, just make it more immersive for a VR game.
Mm.
But a lot of people were against it. So here's my opinion on it. I don't mind games that are as immersive and slow as Red Dead Redemption 2, and I don't mind games that are like sort of quick, easy to access, fast as like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, it cannot meet every criteria
Yeah.
for every game.
I just don't like
Yeah.
I don't like people who complain about Red Dead and say Red Dead shouldn't be this. It should be more seamless. It should be more
Mm.
quick. It should be easy to play.
That's just they putting that game into their own criteria.
Like
Right.
it encourages homogeneous like game design. That all games should be similar,
Mm.
right.
which would suck if every game was similar, right?
Imagine every game being like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, it would suck.
Yeah.
So that's why I like if you don't like Redemption 2, that's fine. It's not your game, whatever. But
Mm.
don't say but Redemption 2 should be like Assassin's Creed. It
Because
should be whatever.
If it should be like that, the directors would have made it like that.
yeah.
Mm.
But it's not.
Yeah.
It's a different taste. It's a different.
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
different takes, more variety in games is always good.
Right.
And I feel like Ghost of Tsushima sort of fulfills that. It's a different take on
Yeah,
open
they're
world.
selling it to a certain audience. They're
Mhm.
not trying to appeal to everyone. So
Mm.
people who like it, they're like, oh, it looks nice.
it-
And
Yeah, I think usually Japanese cultures and Japanese games that are based around Japanese cultures
Mm.
usually sell well.
Mm-hmm. Which is surprising because there weren't very many samurai games the past years.
There were more World War II.
Yeah,
games.
like World War II.
before that was like zombie games.
Yeah, and then now like Sekiro came out, and then Neo came out,
Yeah.
Right.
and now Ghost of Tsushima, and then For Honor. So like this is sort of weird upswing in samurai games out of nowhere.
Right.
And now people are hoping the next Assassin's Creed game might be feudal Japan after Valhalla.
Mm.
And also, a lot of people in Total War are also asking for a remake of Shogun.
Or maybe Shogun 3.
Oh, maybe yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think the big top 3 cultures that a lot of people like is Rome, Japan, and like northern factions
Yeah,
like Valhalla.
Like
Mm.
Norse faction.
Yeah.
Those are the top 3.
No,
Mhm.
it's like more like Greek, not Rome. It's like Greek.
Oh, yeah, Greek in general.
yeah.
Greek in general.
Yeah, Greek in general, I
Greek in
guess.
general.
Yeah. So, yeah. But it's nice. I mean, I don't want to throw shade at Microsoft and their event. We would have talked about this more if we could have met up last week. But because it was a long time ago, I was like, it's been a while already, so it's not point bringing it up. But I do want to bring up something about it. So this event was sort of marketed as like gameplay reveal of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And we talked about it in our podcast.
Yup.
We're like, next week they're apparently going to show gameplay.
Mm.
And then people were so excited. And then I was excited, so I watched it live. And then they showed trailers, a bunch of trailers of games that were whatever. It's interesting, but most people were watching that show because of
The gameplay.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla,
Mm.
quote unquote gameplay. And then they showed the trailer. When you say gameplay, what pops into your mind?
When you play the game.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the
It's
Ghost
gameplay.
of Tsushima
Right.
trailer. That was
That's a
gameplay.
gameplay.
That
Yeah.
was gameplay trailer,
Like
right?
literally someone inside the engine itself.
Yeah, playing the game, or like and then explaining.
Right.
Yeah, you owe me a soda. So like, they're explaining the game, how it works, the systems, how
I mean, that's literally the meaning of gameplay.
Yeah. So apparently, for Ubisoft and Microsoft, apparently gameplay just meant cinematic trailer that's not CGI. CGI. So-
I'm guessing a lot of people were disappointed.
oh yeah, the uproar.
The disappointment was real.
The uproar to the event was. I remember people every time they talk about the trailer, they always put quotation marks around gameplay. They'd be like, "Wow, gameplay trailer."
Great gameplay.
Yeah. So the reason I want to bring that up is because compared to what Sony did with Ghost of Tsushima, like that's night and day.
Mm.
Like this is what people wanted with the Valhalla trailer. Like we want to know how the game works because
Right.
we still don't know how the game works.
And we don't know how it looks in the game engine.
Yeah, like we know with the trailer, but that was like very like they use
But
camera
it's-
angles.
Once again, it's a
yeah.
trailer. It's,
It's
not
more
a reflection.
more a movie
right?
than
Yeah.
a game.
Yeah, but at least we know how the game looks
Might
like.
look.
Yeah. But it's not like CGI anymore because like the first trailer was just
It's like plot twist.
But
It's all
at
about.
the
It's all
same
about
time-
that. The bird. You play the bird.
But at the same time, I do feel like the trailer and the gameplay won't be that different. It's because look at the current game.
yeah.
It's almost as
Yeah.
if the gameplay
mean,
looks
yeah.
itself
Yeah.
as a cinematic.
I mean, it's not gonna look like the CGI trailer, the one they used first. That'd be crazy if it looked like that.
if they actually
That
come
is
up with that,
definitely next bar.
and then the company's like, see, we showed you the gameplay.
That was the legit.
That was
gameplay.
literally the gameplay. Everyone's gonna be like, whoa,
What a twist!
what a twist.
But that's not good.
But,
that was CGI.
I mean, well, that's an advice we're giving them.
yeah,
There's like how many graphic cards would you need just to run that game?
10 new SSDs.
like 10 Titans. So it is. It's just sort of like I don't want to be a console war and say, oh, look at what Sony did, and look what Microsoft did. But you know, they did do those things.
I mean, when you say you're gonna do something, you should do it.
Yeah, it's the word gameplay should mean certain things, and that wasn't
It's
that was
literally game and play. Well, how hard is
Yeah.
can it be?
I'm pretty sure a lot of people are very excited for Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh yeah, I mean, are you gonna PS5?
I am.
Because if you're gonna PS5, then you can play all the PS4 games anyway.
I know.
So
I know, but I still have to see. But we know that Dennis is getting one.
I'm
and
getting
we're
one.
gonna get a studio.
Well,
I hope by the end of this year.
We'll see.
So I'm hoping you're gonna put it there.
Yeah, we'll get a crowd controls PS5.
And one day the PS5 just disappeared.
And one of us is like
then
don't
June
respond.
is gone from the country.
goes to China.
Yeah. So how about Kevin as a non-console gamer?
Mm.
Ghost of Tsushima. Does it make you want to get a console?
Not really. Once again, it's an interesting game. However, if it's not on PC, I would find no good reason to.
You're more
buy
of
in the
a
first place,
keyboard
right?
mouse guy, right?
Because it's what I grew up with, and when it comes to migrating to another platform, let's say a console, it feels clunky. It feels alien, right? So
I mean,
in the end,
Yeah,
I'm
keyboard
just
and
more
mouse
used
feels
to
clunky
PC.
to me too.
Mm.
Because I didn't grow
Yeah,
up playing keyboard
exactly.
and mouse.
So
The thing about console is that for
Yeah.
people who have been playing console, they're so good at it.
yeah, they're like
Right.
you see people playing Call of Duty
Yeah.
right.
with their consoles.
I don't know how they do, like especially with games that like have aiming. I'm guessing
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima is gonna have aiming. It's because you're gonna have a bow.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I don't know if without that auto aim adjustment that helps you
Yeah.
aim. I don't know how you get headshots
Mm.
or do. You're gonna have to line up, and if the guy moves, like, oh god damn it.
Yeah, I mean people are crazy. there are
Yeah,
people out there
so
who.
when you really think about it, I would say if it was like Sekiro, they do like they just reprogram the entire thing to cross-platform play. Everything's allowed. Then I'll buy it, I guess. Right?
Hmm.
It looks nice, and if everything's polished through and through, then I'll definitely play it.
Yeah, but this is now the final swan song of the PS4.
Mm.
But there
This-
is a certain charm to PS stations.
Yeah, PlayStation.
The PlayStations is because it's just you just buy it, and everything is just ready.
Yeah, there's no like fixing or
Yeah,
hot
there-
fixes or
Yeah.
whatever.
There's no 360 heads like in New Vegas, like all like they're just like floating to nowhere.
But now that Ghost of Tsushima is coming out July, Last of Us Part 2 coming out June. Once these two games come out, I think that's when Sony will start shifting their marketing to
Mm.
because like what's the point of marketing the PS5 when we still have two big PS4 games left to play?
Right.
You don't want the people to start focusing on the next console.
Yeah, once again, it's in November. There's still
Yeah,
plenty.
there's still plenty of time.
Right.
I hope PlayStation and these respective companies will allow gameplays to be recorded on PlayStation 5, especially for these two games, because I heard Red Dead Redemption, it doesn't allow
There's certain parts that
That-
they've restricted
because of
spoiler-
possible spoilers.
spoilers and stuff like that.
But a lot of people do watch people's gameplay
yeah,
for the spoilers because
Yeah.
they don't want to play it themselves.
yeah, or they
Mm.
don't have the console.
yeah, exactly. So I think there is a certain limit to how much you should restrict spoilers
Mhm.
because some people actually look forward to that.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. And Ghost of Tsushima looks amazing, and I'm sure it'll be great. Hopefully, hopefully it's great.
If the companies are interested in us doing a review, then please let us know in our email down below.
Our email is in the description down below.
You can send us a review copy, and we'll be happy to do a review.
Yeah. So that'll be all the time for today. What?
It's your turn.
The last
Oh,
word.
all right. It is my turn.
It is your turn.
Yeah. I mean, now that you mention it, I don't know. I'm not sure what to say. But I
Oh
have to
man.
think.
Oh, that's your last word to wait. Oh, that's pretty good.
No,
Okay.
but yeah. I mean, I don't want to change up the last word a bit. So instead of, I mean, we're still gonna do last word, but I do also want to put not last, just recommendation of the day. So the person with the last word can recommend anything. Could be
Right.
a YouTube video. It could be a
game,
movie,
a book.
game, book.
Like a cooking tip.
Yeah.
Or TikTok video.
It could be. I told Kevin to do it last time, but he didn't do it.
Yeah, but he said
Because
something more
it was
important.
like a 2-digit thing, and
Yeah.
gotta keep it like that.
So I'll start with my recommendation. So my recommendation is there's this anime called Kaguya-sama Love is War.
What is it about?
It's a romantic comedy anime.
Mm.
It's about two people, and they're like considered like the elite of their school. So
Mm.
the guys are the president of the student council.
They're humans, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And the girl is the vice president, and they both like each other, but because they're such prideful people, they don't want to confess to the other person.
Is the girl blonde?
No.
Oh, I know. I've heard of this before.
Yeah, it's a pretty popular anime. So it's like a battle anime. They're trying to make each other confess to the person.
Okay.
So they try to think of all these weird schemes to make them
Mm.
confess and put them in
Put them in situations.
situations where they're forced to sort of like
say something.
say something.
Mm.
For example, like I think one was like, who they're trying to make each other ask the number. So they don't want to ask the number. They want to make the other person ask their number. So they think of all these weird like plans. Like the guy who put a profile picture of his when he was a kid as his profile picture for the line, and then to tempt her to make her ask him his number so that she could see the picture, and stuff like that. But it's really good. It's so funny.
I've heard about it.
Mm.
It's incredibly. It's one of the funniest animes I've ever seen,
Right.
and also it's so heartfelt as well.
Mhm.
So it's I would recommend that. And my last word of the day is enjoy this generation while it lasts, because I'm sure everyone's sort of excited for next gen, and they want to move on to next gen now. But every generation, the last few games are always the best games to come out. So for PS2, it was God of War 2 came out before the PS3 came out. That was one of the best games of the generation. For PS3, Last of Us came out months before the PS4 came out, and that was considered one of the best games of the generation. And now this year, we have Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us Part 2 coming out. And I'm sure those games will be one of the best games of this generation as well. So, yeah, sure, everyone wants to see the new shiny thing, the new fancy consoles, but be patient. We still have lots of good stuff to sort of take our time and attention for now.
Right.
And once the consoles come up, then we can focus on that. But for now, just take it day by day. And
Okay.
yeah, that's
All right.
it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, see you next week.